These fake HOA cops held a knife to my daughter's throat right on my own front porch. And they actually believed they could scare her into dropping out of a school election. Watching my little girl frozen in fear, shaking with that blade pressed under her chin. That was the moment every ounce of peace I'd been holding on to disappeared. They thought they were threatening a child. They didn't realize they were provoking a Delta Force vet. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. My name is Damien, and for over a decade, I served in Delta Force before retiring into the quietest neighborhood I could find. I wanted silence. I wanted normal. I wanted a place where my 16-year-old daughter, Lily, could grow up without ever knowing the world I came from. For a while, everything was perfect. Lily made friends fast, teachers liked her, and she was always involved in school events. That's how she ended up running for student body president. She wasn't the type to chase popularity. She simply earned it. That's when Karen entered our lives in full force. Karen wasn't just the HOA president. She was the self-appointed queen of the neighborhood. Her daughter Madison also ran for student body president. And Karen expected everyone to support her. Precious girl. When the early polls showed Lily leading by a massive margin, Karen's smile disappeared overnight. It started small. HOA warnings taped to my door for grass being too healthy. Threats about our non-regulation mailbox color. Inspections that weren't scheduled, meetings we were required to attend. I thought it was petty jealousy. Annoying but harmless. Then Lily started hearing things at school. Madison's friends whispering, "Your dad's weird." Karen telling other parents that Lily wasn't leadership material. Rumors spreading that Lily cheated in the poll numbers. Still, we ignored it. Elections come and go. Kids move on. But Karen didn't. And instead of empowering her daughter, she decided to destroy mine. It was supposed to be an ordinary Thursday. I was inside tightening a loose hinge on the kitchen door when I heard Lily scream from the porch. Not a startled yelp, not a cry for attention, a real scream, a terrified one. I bolted toward the front door, and when I stepped outside, the sight that greeted me made my blood go cold. Two grown men in fake HOA cops' uniforms had cornered Lily against the brick wall. One grabbed her by the arm, squeezing hard enough to bruise, while the other held a long polished knife angled under her chin. Lily was shaking violently, tears streaming down her cheeks, her voice barely a whisper as she begged them not to hurt her. "You're going to drop out of that election," the knife holder hissed. "You hear me? You're done. Say you quit, and we walk away." Lily shook her head, terrified. "I didn't do anything. Please." The man pressed the blade tighter, and that was when I stepped fully into view. My shadow fell over all three of them. My fists were already curling, every old instinct roaring awake inside me. The two fake cops froze. Lily's eyes widened in relief. I took one slow, controlled step forward because they are about to learn exactly who they just threatened. The knife holder stiffened first. He pressed the blade tighter against Lily's throat enough to make her gasp. My daughter's shoulders trembled, her fingers curled into fists as tears streamed down her face. "Don't move," he snarled at her. "You're going to tell the school you're dropping out today." I took one more step, slow and controlled. "Let her go." The second man, the one gripping her arm, glanced back at me. "Back off, old man. This is HOA business." I almost laughed. "Old man, HOA business. You don't have any authority here," I said, my voice low enough to drop the temperature around us. "And you're wearing uniforms that aren't even real. No badges, no insignia, no numbering. You two idiots printed HOA cops on Halloween costumes and thought it would fool someone." The man with the knife scoffed. "You don't need a badge to make someone comply." Wrong thing to say. He angled the knife again, just slightly, a mistake he wouldn't have time to regret. My body moved before my mind fully registered it. Years of training, years of muscle memory. I stepped in, seized his wrist, and twisted hard. The knife clattered to the concrete. He screamed, his knees buckled. At the same time, I grabbed the back of his neck and slammed him against the porch pillar. His shoulder crunched on impact. Not enough to sever function, but enough to end his fight immediately. The second fake cop released Lily and swung at me. Sloppy punch. No technique. I ducked, drove my elbow into his ribs, then hooked his ankle with my foot and took him down hard. His back hit the steps, and a sharp crack ripped through the air as his arm snapped under his own weight. Lily ran behind me, sobbing. I checked her quickly. No blood, no cuts, just terror. Both men writhed on the ground, groaning, clutching broken limbs. The knife lay inches from my foot. I kicked it farther away, just as the first neighbors began stepping outside. Phones went up immediately. People gasped. Someone yelled, "Is that Damon's daughter? What's happening?" Then the worst person imaginable stormed into view. Karen! She marched toward us in full meltdown mode, pointing and shrieking like a deranged banshee. "You, Damien, you're going to jail for attacking HOA officers. You assaulted them." I stepped forward, calm and steady. They held a knife to my daughter's throat. "Karen, they were doing their job," she screamed. I stared at her. Their job? In fake uniforms? With a knife? Her face blanched, but only for a second. "It's not fake. They're part of enforcement. You should have cooperated enforcement against a 16-year-old girl over a school election." That's when I stopped holding back. "You want to know who you sent them to threaten?" I said, stepping close enough for her to feel my breath. "I'm Delta Force vet, and you just crossed the last line you'll ever get to cross." Her mouth fell open. Someone in the crowd whispered, "Oh, damn." And then the sirens came. One of my neighbors must have called. Police cruisers turned the corner. Officers stepped out fast. Karen pointed at me immediately. "Arrest him." He attacked my officers. I didn't flinch. I just raised my hands calmly and said, "Check my porch camera." It recorded everything. The officers exchanged looks because the truth was coming and Karen was about to drown in it. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe, because the story is only going to get better. The officer stepped toward me first, hands cautious but not hostile. Karen hovered behind them, shaking with rage and desperation, jabbing her finger at me like she was trying to guide their attention. "There," she screamed. "That's him. Arrest him." He broke their arms. Both of them. He attacked HOA enforcement during a lawful inspection. The officers ignored her theatrics and looked at me. "You said you have camera footage." I nodded and led them inside. Lily followed close, still trembling, gripping the back of my shirt like it was the only thing keeping her steady. I pulled up the Ring camera feed, rewound it, and pressed play. The footage showed everything. The fake uniforms, the knife, the threats. The moment, they cornered a 16-year-old girl and held a blade to her throat. One officer clenched his jaw. The other muttered, "Jesus Christ." When the video ended, both men looked at me, not with suspicion, but with respect. "Thank you," one said quietly. "This changes everything." We stepped back outside, and Karen rushed them like a rabid dog. "Don't listen to him. That video is taken out of context. They were performing an inspection." The officer turned slowly toward her. "Ma'am, inspections don't involve knives." Her mouth snapped shut. He crouched beside the fake cops, examining their uniforms. He snatched the vest from one of them, flipped it inside out, and held it up. No badge number, no patches, no certification, no ID. "This is counterfeit gear." The knife holder groaned, clutching his broken shoulder. I was just doing what she paid us for, he gasped, pointing a shaking finger directly at Karen. She told us to scare the girl into quitting the election. She said she'd pay extra if the dad never found out. Karen stumbled back like someone had slapped her. No, that's a lie. I didn't, but the second man cut her off. She forged paperwork. She said the HOA had authority. She paid us cash every week. A ripple spread through the crowd. Gasps, angry whispers, neighbors filming everything. The officers stood up, faces hardening instantly. Karen, turn around, hands behind your back. What? No, you can't. I'm HOA president. You're being detained for questioning in connection with child endangerment, conspiracy, and hiring individuals to commit intimidation and assault. Handcuffs clicked. Karen screamed. No one helped her. The fake officers were loaded onto stretchers and taken to the ambulance, each cuffed to the rails. They would leave the hospital for jail, not home. 2 weeks later, the full investigation concluded exactly how I expected. Karen forged HOA authority documents. She paid both men under the table. She orchestrated the entire attack because her daughter was losing a school election. She was arrested formally, removed from the HOA, charged with conspiracy, falsifying authority, intimidation, and child endangerment. She got 25 years in state prison. Her reputation gone. Her influence dead. As for the fake cops, they were sentenced to 8 years in prison each, fined $15,000, and spent 6 weeks in the hospital recovering from the damage they earned. Lily won the election unanimously. Teachers praised her bravery. Parents applauded her resilience. And me? I held her close. Grateful I got there in time. Grateful she was safe. Because Karen learned the truth the hard way. Peace is something I choose, but protecting my own is something I never hesitate to do. What do you think, folks? Did I do the right thing, or did I take things too far? What would you have done if someone held a knife to your daughter? I would love to know. At the end,